right, let's wrap this up. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer, and today we'll be rounding out my review of Hallmark's first rom-com limited series, 12 Dates Til Christmas, adapted from Jenny Bayliss's The 12 Dates of Christmas, with episodes 4 and 5, with episodes 5 and 6 of the show. As you can see, Christmas has passed us by. I managed my time just fine. This was an abrupt change of the schedule, and the fact that I managed to put out 3 videos before Christmas, a 4th just a couple days after, and I'm wrapping this up before New Year's, I'm proud of myself. I managed my time as best I could. I'm just one woman. I'm just one. As you can see, I'm wearing neither red nor green. I've painted my nails for New Year's Eve. Those bad boys are blue and sparkly now. And half of my line of Christmas lights died. Oh, and my fire's not even on. You know what? No, I gotta turn the whole... Okay, if you can't have the Christmas lights, we can at least have the fire one last time. Gotta round it out with the fire. In my script, I said it's Christmas in 4 days, and if at all possible, I'd like to have this finished before Christmas Eve. It's actually New Year's Eve tomorrow. It's New Year's Eve as I film this, and I'd like to get this done by New Year's Eve specifically. So that's the new goal.
January 7th is probably fine too. January 7th is probably fine. Yeah.
What I'll be doing is one big finale video where I review the final 2 episodes of the show and compare and contrast it to the source material. To a degree, of course, since at this point the show no longer seems to be adapting the book at all. But what initially seemed like a curse has actually turned out to be somewhat of a blessing, because since the show resembles the source material so little, I'm actually more easily able to enjoy the show as its own Hallmark Christmas movie style thing, instead of constantly comparing it to what I loved about the book, which is making this whole endeavor a bit more fun for me. It was a little rough at the beginning. I mean, I've been having fun the whole time. Let's be honest. I'm watching a Christmas TV show and talking about a Christmas book. How much it's just fun. It's nice. What a couple of nice weeks I've been having, okay? Like, all right. The last few episodes have definitely been more enjoyable for me because I'm not constantly going, "Oh, well, I wish they would have done what was in the book instead." Now, it's just over there. It's spinning off in its own universe, and I'm like, "You know what? Fine. That's nice. It's fun." And as a final reminder, in this finale episode, I am able to watch this brand new Hallmark show thanks to my local library. If you'd like to watch the show for yourself, if you're somebody who likes to watch Christmas stuff after Christmas, or if you'd like to watch any of Hallmark Plus's movies, I recommend doing what I'm doing and use a Hallmark Plus binge pass from Hoopla. So if your library has Hoopla, which is an ebook and audiobook platform where patrons of libraries can check out digital materials, you can log in with your library card info and see if your library has the Hallmark Plus binge pass. You'll click borrow, and then you'll get 7 free days of Hallmark Plus, and it'll take you right to the streaming site. You don't need to make a new account or anything. It's super easy, and then you can watch Hallmark movies, and it's fun. It's fun. We're having fun. Very cool. Love the library. Love that Hallmark is working with the library to provide Hallmark Plus to the library patrons. But with that, let's get into it. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this is to forego the sort of opening monologue I've been doing on the story beats that are happening outside of the dates, and just weave those details in as we go date by date, because we've only got 3 left. However, just as a refresher, episode 4 ended with Callum telling Kate,
"I kiss you. It's not a joke."
And the 2 of them Christmas kissing. Yes! So, on to the dates and the stuff that happens with them.
Wonderful.
Date 10 in the book is a gingerbread house decorating contest. Kate's date is a cute Scottish architect who takes the event way too seriously and ends up disregarding the rules of the competition and the gingerbread template provided to build his own gingerbread architectural marvel, including plexiglass windows and a viewing deck. He really takes the reins. He does not ask Kate for her input, and when she voices an idea, he's quick to shut her down. Let's just remember what kind of headspace book Kate is currently in. 1, she just recently realized that she's in love with her best friend, Matt. 2, her beloved, her best friend, Matt, is extremely angry with her for keeping a secret about his girlfriend from him, a secret that might have led to the end of their relationship. We're uncertain where Matt and Sarah stand. And in the wake of their fight and her feelings, Kate has decided to leave Blexford and move back to London, and is really only wrapping up the 12 dates as a way to honor her financial commitment, okay? So she's not trying to impress anybody right now. With all of that going on, Kate's really not in the right headspace emotionally to be able to deal with any sort of tact or grace with the Scottish architect's blatant disregard of the traditional methods of gingerbread house decorating that Kate so loves. So eventually, she breaks, and she adds a piece of candy to the outside of the house. And he's like, no. We're going to make wood grain walls out of toothpicks for this gingerbread house. And she's like, no. She takes some icing. This is a trellis. And then she sticks some gummy candies on there, and she's like, those are roses. And she just ends up festooning the entire house in icing and little gumdrops until he loses his mind and takes a piece of plexiglass and just smashes the house to pieces. Her date having wrapped early, Kate goes to find Laura, because the event was held in Blexford Manor, where many of the 12 dates were held in the book, and Laura is able to finally tell Kate about Matt's almost love confession all those years ago. I mentioned this in the third video. There was a misunderstanding between Matt and Kate. Kate left to go travel the world, but by the time Matt got there to confess his love, she was already gone. Laura was the one he found there, and he's like, please don't ever tell Kate any of this. And Laura decided not to. So years and years and years have passed, at least a decade, that Laura has been holding on to this secret. And when Kate finds out, she is so angry, because from her point of view, it looks like Laura has ruined her life. Laura's one choice potentially cost Kate years of happiness with Matt. And now, with Matt so angry with her and still in love with Sarah, it just seems like there's no hope for Kate at all. So Kate ends up saying some very harsh things to Laura and storms off. Oh, and before we wrap up date 10, Drew, her date by mistake at the salsa club, is also on this gingerbread house making date, and he asks Kate if she would like to be his 12th date. So the 12th date is going to be an outdoor showing of It's a Wonderful Life, and for this date, the 12 dates participants get to choose who they're going to go with, either from the pool of 11 people they have gone on dates with during the event, or they'll get randomly paired with a different 12 dates participant. And as Kate has no interest in meeting anyone new, and assumes that the Lightning Strikes team is going to look at her askance if she brings Richard, her no-snow from date 1. I'll use the show's terminology there, the no-snow. Drew's invite is a welcome one. That's date 10 in the books. Date 10 in the show picks up with Kate reeling from her kiss with Matt. And neither of them have spoken to each other for 2 full days. And on top of all of that, Richard has continued to be a joy and delight. What's a girl to do? What's Kate to do? Does she go for the best friend she was always afraid to hope for and still seems uncertain? Or the man who is confident in his displays of affection and his pursuit of her? Kate, in the midst of this turmoil and against her better judgment, shares her woes with her mother, who has cornered her on the train. And Kate's mom gives her,
When I find myself on the horns of a two-man dilemma,
in my opinion,
find yourself a third man.
some garbage advice.
Another option to put the entire situation into focus.
Why are we adding more men into the equation? We shouldn't be adding more men to this.
Ideally, you have one man. You get one wife.
You can have a bunch of wives. You get one wife. This is the way the world works.
You're less men on the table. It just adds confusion. No, don't add more. No, thank you. One's enough. One is enough. Thank you. So she gives that little golden nugget of advice, and then also promises Kate she won't tell anyone what the two of them have discussed. But then Kate's mom immediately turns around and tells Laura, and then Laura confronts Callum. And then, after stirring that pot, Kate's mom flounces on over to Kate's dad's house and is like, hey, guess what, ex-husband? I've broken our daughter's trust again. And he's like, aw, darn you. Why do you keep doing this to her? And then she's like, you want to get on a motorcycle, big boy?
Come on, Mac, let's go for a ride.
Kate would kill me.
And then they drive their motorcycle past the Pear Tree Cafe in an effort to make Evelyn jealous. Oh, okay, so that was not Mac's intention, by the way. Mac's intention was not to make Evelyn jealous. He just wanted to ride his motorcycle again, which Kate has been refusing ever since he broke his hip in a motorcycle accident. But at this point, okay, The show bears no resemblance to the book at all, and as I said, I'm able to actually enjoy it now because of that, since I'm no longer able to compare it to the novel. And I think if this was a standalone original idea, I would take this whole show as a really solid Hallmark creation. The threads and emotional arcs are all tying up and paying off nicely, and I've seen the end of this series and it does feel satisfying and earned. So it's difficult in analyzing this series to critique characters like Kate's mom. She is a big, larger-than-life character, and I think you're meant to be somewhat frustrated with her at all times, but also kind of delighted, because she's just like one of those like, oh, what a crazy zany woman we're seeing on screen. Oh, drat Kate's mom. But in the world of the show, she's a very useful plot device to get Kate and Mac where they need to be, and she is a wound that is ultimately healed in time for Christmas through forgiveness and love. And we love to see that. We love things that move our main characters in the direction they should go. We love catalysts for change. And we also love families coming back together at Christmas time. So that's all good. That's all fine. It's great. It's sweet. It sticks the landing. But looking at it as an adaptation, it's frustrating. This has been my complaint the entire time, specifically because so much of the show, and in particular the last 3 episodes of the show, is devoted to Kate's mom, particularly Kate's mom stirring up trouble when in the book she only ever interacts with Kate via phone call. It's just so frustrating because Kate's mom's character is already intended to be a somewhat frustrating character on the show, but there is a layer of real frustration added to the manufactured frustration of the plot, because I know that I should not be irritated with this woman at this time. She's supposed to be a zany little side character who makes phone calls and sometimes gets arrested in Barbados for selling a stolen yacht. She's not supposed to be showing up around every corner all the time and making things difficult for everyone. Completely divorced from the book. The actress does well. She's funny. The moments of like banter between Kate and her mom, they're funny. Like, nothing against anybody who's doing anything, of course. It's just she shouldn't be there. She should just be a phone call person. She should just be a phone call person all the time. But I digress. And I'm being magnanimous. I actually haven't decided if I'm being I think I'm going to be as magnanimous as I can, but I'm also going to be truthful and honest with you, because what better time of year to be truthful and honest than right before the New Year's? Let's go in to 2026 with no weight of lies or deceit on our hearts. Okay? Let's be honest. And being honest, I'm not happy that they put Kate's mom in here as much as they did. So, Kate decides to follow her mother's terrible advice and find a third man to add to this salad of men she already has on her plate, and goes on date 10. The date is a Christmas market. All the dates have been sent matching silly Christmas hats, and the point of the date is to wander through the Christmas market, get to know your date, and then buy them the perfect Christmas gift. And this guy's great. His name's Charlie. He's also an American. He also works in textiles, just like Kate does, and he seems like the perfect distraction from the whole Richard Callum conundrum until Richard shows up at the Christmas market as well. Now, there's a minor character in the show that I've neglected to mention up until this point because she hasn't infringed on any of my book canon versus show canon discussions. This character's name is Marjorie. She's a very nice woman about Kate's age that Kate has bumped into several times, and they get along well. Like, whenever they've bumped into each other, they've exchanged a few words and maybe a smile, like, oh, hey, I recognize you from date 1. And then they're like, oh, hey, look at you. You're on the escape room date. So they know each other in passing and have bonded over the course of the 12 dates. So Kate sees Marjorie at the Christmas market the way she's seen her on several of the other dates, and she's like, Marjorie, my friend, how are you? How's your date? And Marjorie is very pleased with her date, who's just over there somewhere, just right out of sight. And Kate's very happy for her until Marjorie's date sidles up, and that date is Richard. Now, being assigned different dates is the nature of the 12 Dates beast, which Kate has always understood logically, especially as she is on a date with another man right now, but it's a different matter to see the guy she really likes with another woman on his arm, and it just adds to this swirl of confusion that's been plaguing her. It's a very awkward interaction. Richard's like, oh, hi, and Kate's like, hey, and then Marjorie and Charlie go to like look for a gift for the two of them, and she's like, how are you? And he's like, I'm good, sorry, is this awkward? And she's like, maybe a little, but it's fine, and it's just like, So after that awkward interaction, when Charlie and Marjorie return and the two dates pair off and go their separate ways, Charlie, he clocked the weirdness between them and hey guys, so for some reason, the audio on this clip just completely cut out after this point. I'm going to let past me keep yapping in the background so you have something to look at, but I'm going to do some voiceover for the section of the script that's missing. After that awkward interaction, which Charlie clocks and is sympathetic about, he tells her he knows the perfect gift for her, but they have to go somewhere else. So Charlie ends up taking her to the museum where he works, specifically to the historical fashion installment he's working on, but has not yet been released to the public. And it's this beautiful collection of historical dresses and suits from various eras. And this is amazing for Kate. And maybe she's starting to think her mom was right about adding that third guy to the mix. But then Charlie lets slip that he's going back to America once his contract is up. And it's here we get a full circle moment for Kate. She asks him why he did the 12 dates if he knew he was leaving London right away. And Charlie tells her he thought it was a good way to meet people while in London and that he doesn't really think about that kind of thing. He doesn't really have his mind on the future.
So you're not looking for anything serious then?
I don't know. Are you?
And Kate realizes that's exactly what her mindset was at the beginning of the 12 dates. But somewhere along the way, she has started thinking about the future and who she wants to spend it with.
Somebody asked me that at the start of this, and I can sort of feel my answer already changing.
Like I said way back in my first video, it was clear that the show's version of Kate was going to go on a journey of self-discovery, that she was going to go from bitter, closed off, and suffering in all areas, including her creativity, and then grow in all of those areas before finding love. And that's exactly what we see happening here. And it's solid storytelling. It's hitting all the beats. And with that, we move into Date 11. Date 11 in the book is a wine tasting. And at this point, Kate is completely checked out. She's reached out to her old roommate in London, so she knows she'll have somewhere to stay after Christmas. She's boxing up what she'll be taking with her in an effort to distract herself from thinking about Matt. And she is, of course, baking. She's baking for this Christmas caroling walk that the village of Blexford puts on for the children. It originally started as a way to cheer up the kids who'd been moved out to the countryside during World War II, but it ended up becoming this annual tradition where the whole town goes on a caroling walk together. They wander through the village and people leave out like little treats and baked goods for the kids, and it just sounds lovely. And over the course of this entire book, while Kate has been going on her pleasant walks through nature or like walking to Blexford Manor for the different dates, she's noticed this one specific copse of trees keeps getting more and more beautifully decorated. Like everyone who lives in that area has been slowly trying to out-decorate each other. And this is going to be one of the major sights to see during the caroling. So Kate's excited for the caroling walk, but it's bittersweet as it will be one of the last things she does in this town that she's come to love. Kate's date for Date 11 is a nice enough guy, kind and attentive and smart, but he's also a big know-it-all who keeps talking over and contradicting the sommeliers in charge of the wine tasting, so when he asks Kate if they can meet again, she very graciously declines. Date 11 in the show is a big old mess. It's supposed to be a big old mess. We're supposed to feel like, oh no, what a big old mess has been made here. I'm not insulting it. That was the point. And let me explain why. So Laura, who now knows about the kiss because of Kate's mom, decides to meddle. That's the very thing that she's been doing the entire series that has been upsetting Kate this whole time. And while Laura is attempting to step back and do her best not to meddle in her friends' lives anymore, it is in her nature. So she confronts Callum about the kiss. Callum, if I haven't mentioned it, has been having a real doozy of a day, what with Oliver popping out of nowhere to ask Callum to punch him in the face for stealing Sarah, which Callum refuses to do, and then Callum gets clarity and Oliver gets his guilt assuaged when Callum confirms Oliver wasn't the reason he and Sarah broke up. So that's a side plot going on with Callum.
If you want to punch me, go ahead. I know I deserve it.
Wrapping that back up, Laura is like, Callum, what if it's not hopeless? What if there is hope for you and Kate to get together? And this gives Callum some hope. And so Laura and Drew get together and they use their 12 dates magic to make a perfect date for Callum and Kate. They turn the pear tree into a private theater. They set out loads of lots of candy and snacks. And Drew even sends a car to pick Kate up from work.
Date 11 is a do-over that's long overdue. Your car will be there in 1 hour.
Kate, meanwhile, over the course of this episode, has been blazing a path of destruction in her personal life. She's finally feeling creative again. Like, over the course of the show, she figured out how to make one client's plaid. She started working on new designs inspired by some old work. But then her boss comes in and is like, Kate, congratulations, you have been specifically hired to design the fabrics for a new client's home. And Kate gets a little suspicious. So she's like, somebody wants me to do all of the fabric for their house? But you're the big name designer. Why did they choose me? So Kate goes to the address, knocks on the door, and meets the client. And the client is Kate's mom, who has bought a house in London and wants Kate to decorate it. So Kate's mom is doing this because she's like, I believe in you, sweetie. I don't think you need to be held back as just like a junior designer under somebody, like a well-renowned name. I think you have what it takes to go out on your own. And Kate's like, get out of here. Maybe this is even from episode 12. I can't remember at this point, honestly. 12, episode 6. I don't know. But Kate starts chewing her mom out for interfering again.
Did it ever even occur to you to ask me? I should spend all of my time and efforts decorating your house?
Kate's mom responds by being like, hey.
I do not need your permission to live here or to exist in the world.
Oh, and it's for sure from episode 6, by the way. I went and found the clips. They're in episode 6. I mixed some things up. I watched 5 and 6 back to back. So this is just, it's the finale episode. What I'm saying happened at some point in the story. All right?
So it's just like another crunchy scene between Kate and her mom. And there had been some growth toward the end of the 4th episode where she was like, hey, let's you and I talk later. But there's not been enough growth because she hasn't quite worked through all of her anger and stuff yet. And it just keeps coming out whenever her mom's around.
It's coming back to me what actually happened with Kate's mom in episode 5. Beginning of the episode, Kate's mom corners Kate on the morning train to London. And after they have their conversation about the kiss with Callum, she stops in. Kate shows her her office and she's like, wow, this is great. And you won all these awards with Kate's designs? And the artist is like, yes, we make a dream team, Kate and I. She's like, interesting, cool. And then she goes and starts stirring the pot all over Blexford. Circle back, we've got all of the drama that happens in episode 5, which I'm getting to. And Kate is in a very, like, angry and emotional state by the time Kate's mom has touched base with Kate's boss and is like, hey, I'd like to hire Kate to design my house. So Kate is lashing out from a place of like anger and frustration that she has not really dealt with yet in these episodes, even though there has been some growth. So that's what happened with Kate's mom. I apologize for the mix-up.
So that's okay. We're in the car with Kate. Then we're flashing over to the pear tree with Callum, Laura, and Drew. Stuff like that, back and forth. Also, Mac is going on his first date with Evelyn. Okay, right, we're bouncing around. The episode is ramping up. The car pulls up. Kate steps out. Cut to Drew.
I sent a car. Kate wasn't there.
That's right. Kate has pulled up to a surprise date with Richard.
I couldn't stand the idea of you going out with someone else for date 11, so I intervened.
Richard. It did not start out as an intentional decision for her to be a no-snow for her mystery 11th date, but that was the ultimate outcome of Richard sending a car as well. But anyway, she's happy and excited to see Richard in his very dapper tux because after an episode full of waffling, Callum or Richard or Callum, she's like, hey, if Callum and I were meant to be, we would have already been. I am choosing Richard. That's where she's just settled in her mind. He's there in front of her in a tux. Fine, so be it. She does not know that Callum was her 11th date. Where are we now? Callum, devastated. Kate, unaware that she's devastated Callum. And Richard, always kissing Kate full on the lips. They're making out. They're having a wonderful time in this Paris-themed dining room because he's a journalist and he was working in Paris briefly when he and Kate first started texting. That's why he made a joke about showing up in a beret. And so, oh, this is just so nice. It's tying back to their beginnings. But this lovely date keeps getting interrupted by Kate's phone. It's ringing, she hangs up. It's ringing, she hangs up. It's ringing, she hangs up.
Someone's popular.
I can't wait.
And after the third immediate callback, Kate's like, oh, so sorry, Richard. We must disentangle from each other's arms. Let me take this.
Hey, Callum, it's not a good time.
And it's Callum calling to tell Kate her dad has collapsed and is in the hospital.
Where is he? Where's my dad?
End of episode 5. Episode 6. If you're wondering, no, Mac never collapsed in the books. Kate's dad never went to the hospital, Kate never ditched the 11th date, and Kate met 11 different men on these dates, which is what she paid for, unlike the show in which Kate has only met 6 men, 1 woman, herself, and was a no-snow for Callum. I, personally, would have asked for a refund! I never went on dating apps when I was single. I'm engaged. Because I hated it. I would have the apps for maybe 30 minutes before I'd delete them because they made me sick to my stomach and made me want to cry. I get that meeting 11 men would be stressful. It would be stressful. But like, to pay that much money for the opportunity to go on 12 dates with 12 different guys and you meet 6 guys, a woman, yourself, and unbeknownst to you, your best friend. Drew, you are not coming through on your promises, Drew. Drew, you have failed. 12th Mr. writes, what could go wrong? 6 men! 6 men! A woman! Herself! Callum! What's the deal with that? Oh my gosh, okay. That's just a little nitpicky something that she met half the men she paid to meet. Let's get into episode 6 and the 12th and final date of Christmas. Obviously, we pick up in the hospital because that's where the last episode left off. What are we all thinking when we see an older gentleman collapse during a date and a first kiss, which must have gotten his heart pounding a little harder than normal? What are we all thinking? What do we expect? Class, I'd like to hear from the rest of you. Third row, A heart attack. Yes, that was my initial thought as well, but you're wrong, and so was I. No, it was not a heart attack that felled Mac. Kate comes in, super worried.
Is it his heart? Is it because he rides a motorcycle? Because he does. Did he tell you that? I bet he didn't tell you that.
And the doctor comes in, and the first thing he says is, hey.
Medically, he's fine. Mr. Tucker, you suffered a panic attack.
His heart is okay?
Yes, his numbers are good, and there's nothing concerning in his labs.
And Mac realizes that he must have also had a panic attack when he was on his bike, and that's what caused his bike crash. So, here are my thoughts on this. I think they added this particular plot element to open conversation about mental health awareness and how anxiety can often be overlooked and ignored, especially in older men who may be less willing to talk openly about what they are feeling. And that is a noble goal that I can appreciate. However, I personally really disliked this addition to the plot because it was also, in addition to the noble goal, clearly added to the story for cheap shock value and to leave the penultimate episode on a cliffhanger. Kate's dad, in the novel, was never in any danger of going to the hospital. He was an older man, yes, and Kate was starting to see him as such, which saddened her the way anybody would be when they notice their parents are getting older. And he had been laid incredibly low by the recent betrayal of his wife. Remember, like I said, it was within, I think the past 2 years. But by the end of the book, he tells Kate that instead of having Christmas dinner at Kate's house, which Mac had sold to her after the betrayal of his wife, he wants to have Christmas dinner with Evelyn at his cottage as a fresh start for their new relationship. In the book, everyone is relatively content with their lives. There is drama, but it's refreshing to spend a story with characters who are happy. It makes the parts where the characters are unhappy all the more dramatic. So the fact that the show put Mac in medical danger is like, okay, All right, fine. Have your silly little shock value. But like, what bugs me about it is if we look at the actual amount of screen time this drama was given, it's like the last 2 minutes before episode 5 ends, she gets the call, and then less than 5 minutes into episode 6,
Not even less than 5 minutes. 1 minute and 40 seconds. Look at this.
the doctor clears Mac of any medical issues. It's just very clear that this whole scenario was shoehorned into the plot to add drama, and like not in any way that was earned or really had any lasting consequences. It just was tacked on to the end of one episode to have a cliffhanger and then immediately dismissed at the beginning of the other. We're not even like worried about Mac over the course of episode 6. Like the first thing they do is clear Mac of any medical issues. Like it's taken off the table immediately, and that makes me ask, like, what's even the point of adding it? The thing is, they defanged the actual emotional and dramatic beats from the book, the big fight with Mac, followed by the big fight with Laura, and had to replace them with something else. So of course they just like threw in a medical scare, and then we're like, oh, but we don't want this to actually be something that matters, so we'll just brush it aside. Oh, like I understand that people can have panic attacks, and that's very hard. I'm not trying to dismiss what a scary thing having a panic attack would be, especially if you had one on a bike like Mac did and broke your hip. Like, that's not the issue here. The issue is that they opted to add this medical scare into the show at all when it was not needed if they had just followed the emotional beats of the book, and then didn't stick with it. Like it wasn't something that we were worried about. It's not something that was used to bring Callum and Kate closer or cause Kate to be like, oh, why am I so worried about Richard or Callum or Richard, when the real thing is family? And hasn't Callum always been part of my family? And do I even know Richard? Like, it's not even used as a catalyst to really bring Kate closer to the actual love interest of this story, Callum. It's just introduced and then within 5 minutes dismissed. And that's it. That's it. Oh no. Like, if they wanted this to actually hold some emotional weight and feel like an important change, we shouldn't have found out that Mac was okay until like a third, maybe even 2/3 of the way into the episode. Like there should have been stuff that Kate was worried about, and then maybe 10-15 minutes before the end of the episode, Kate should have gotten the news her dad was okay. Then she could have gone on to the 12th date and made her revelations and gone off and fallen in love or whatever. Like, Mac should have been a worry for most of this episode if they wanted this addition to work. As it is, it just felt like it was tossed in to be tossed in and then very quickly brushed aside because it was not needed and it didn't fit anywhere else in with the rest of the plot that they were trying to adapt because it never happened in the book. So there was no room for it. Okay, sorry, I talked for a long time about that. But on top of everything, Callum had to see Kate with Richard. Also, as I wrote this part of the script, I started to realize that episode 6 might have been the episode where Kate gets in a fight with her mom about her mom moving to London.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I started thinking about that at all was because I wanted to check in with each character before we go into date 12. And so Kate has not made amends with her mom. She's still on the outs with Callum and is still kind of waffling between Callum and Richard. She is relieved, however, that her father is fine. They just need to keep an eye on his anxiety and make sure he has tools to manage that. Laura has decided to cease her freelance meddling in her friends' lives in favor of professional meddling, because her whole arc these past 2 episodes is that she got named partner at her law firm, which is what she's been hoping to get over the entire course of this series. But she has decided she's going to give that up in favor of starting her own law firm where she can take the cases she wants to take. When I thought her heart was turning her towards event planning the way she had event planned in the book, I was wrong. It was actually her threatening legal action on behalf of Drew against the 13 Dates of Christmas fraudulent copyright infringers that made her go, hey, do I actually want to be partner? Or do I actually want to help the people I want to help and take on cases at my leisure for causes I actually care about? So that's where Laura is at the beginning of this episode. And in terms of Evelyn and Mac, the two of them are still together, and Mac has a new awareness and tools to handle his anxiety. And in terms of Callum, he actually does at some point in the episode confront Kate about her skipping out on date 11 and tells her he was the 11th date and that he waited for her and she didn't show and she didn't say anything to him after they kissed and he's just tired of it and he wants, like they get into another little fight. And she's like, how are you mad at me right now when I didn't even know it was you and you didn't talk to me for 2 days? With that, we get into date 12. But actually, before we get into date 12, I forgot to tell you something about date 11. So, I knew I was forgetting something. So, after the wine tasting, Kate agrees to meet Richard for drinks, and the two of them get to making out pretty heavily. And she's like, you know what, sure, this might as well happen. However, they briefly stop into a different pub, the local Blexford pub, so Richard can use the bathroom. Kate decides to wait outside, and before too long, she hears some drama happening inside the building. And then Richard and Matt come barreling through the front doors, fists flying, and Matt's like, you tell her or I will. Because he's a British man, so that's what he sounds like. And what's Richard supposed to tell? Oh, nothing much, only that he's a lying, no good, dirty, rotten cheater who is actively married and has a wife and child waiting for him at home. That's right. Richard, the most charming rugby player who has taken Kate on several exceedingly romantic and well thought out dates and has been an active 12 Dates participant the entire book, is married with a wife at home who currently doesn't know that her husband is a no good, low down, dirty, cheating dog. And I mean no insult to dogs, of course, as I say that. They're the sweetest little babies in the world. I'm just using it in the colloquial sense, in that Richard is a no-good, dirty, cheating dog. Matt had been in the pub, and he overheard him call his wife and be like, oh, sure thing, sorry babe, late night at the office, I'll be home soon. And so, even though he's still mad at Kate, he confronted Richard, and he got Richard to tell her the truth, and then he stormed back inside. So Kate's like, Richard, can this possibly be true? Why would you do this to me? To your wife? To your bride? To the mother of your child? And he's like,
the thrill of the chase, baby, he said.
Gag me with a spoon. Gross, Richard. Ugh. So, after all of that, Kate is now still at odds with her best friend, trying to pack up to move, and painted as a scarlet woman in the eyes of the town. Not really. Pretty much everybody knows that she was duped, but the gossip is still going strong. But within the next day or two, some point after she found out that Richard was a lying, scheming randy scamp with an old dead cabbage where his heart should be, a big truck full of birds that Lord and Lady Blexford requested for their Christmas feast overturned in the town square, and a bunch of birds get loose. This is important. So everybody's running around trying to catch them, and Kate realizes that she doesn't see Matt anywhere. Now, one thing I have not mentioned about Matt is that he has a healthy fear of birds, and Kate finds him hiding under a kitchen counter, cornered by a partridge in the pear tree. Yes, thank you everyone. We finally did it. It's happening with the lyrics, and a partridge in a pear tree. So she catches the partridge with her jacket, she tosses it outside, she goes in to check on Matt, and in the aftermath of this dramatic rescue, Matt kisses her right on her lips. Clearly, he no longer feels angry about their fight, but just a few days earlier, Kate had seen him and Sarah carrying a bunch of bags out of the pear tree together, which means they're clearly still in love, they're clearly still dating, and now with Matt's kiss lingering on her lips, Kate is the lying, dirty, no-good, cabbage-hearted cheater that the town has painted her as. So she runs off, even more certain that this is it. She's leaving for good. One more day, one more date, then it's Christmas, and then she's gone. So she calms herself. She grabs an Agatha Christie novel because she will not be reading anything with romance, and she heads up early to the field outside of Blexford Manor, of course, I believe, where they are having the 12th and final date of Christmas. She stops in a little cafe, she gets a latte, she reads for a bit until it's time to meet Drew, and then the two of them settle down in their chairs, hot water bottles tucked under the blankets to keep them warm, and the movie starts, and it's great, and it's going to be a nice, chill night with a good friend, and she doesn't have to worry about anything. And then Drew gets up to get food. And she's like, dude, the movie just started. And he's like, no, just let me go do this. So after a few minutes, Kate hears him come back. She hears him get settled in the chair. But when she turns around, it's not Drew. It's Matt. Matt is her 12th date. She's very shocked. She's very surprised. And he tells her that he and Sarah broke up. They'd actually broken up the night that he got mad at her. That was, the reason he got mad at her. His heart was broken. He was taking it out on Kate. But his heart was never fully broken because Kate was always the person he couldn't get over. She was the one that was keeping him from fully falling in love with any other woman. And I don't think he says all that, but that's the connection we're meant to make. And so if Kate would have stuck around the night she saw Sarah and Matt leave the pear tree, she would have actually seen Oliver come pick Sarah up. So he was mad. Yes, but he was more mad at himself because he realized he was still in love with Kate, even after all this time. And so, as It's a Wonderful Life plays in the background, and George Bailey is like, Mary, why did you become a librarian? Oh, no, Mary, I'll fetch you the moon, Mary. Matt tells her he still loves her, and she tells him that she loves him too. And then they kiss, and the next day is Christmas. And what's Matt's gift to her on this beautiful first Christmas of their relationship and the rest of their lives? It is a quilt sewed by Evelyn and the Knitting Sex Kittens, made up of every single fabric design that Kate had ever done, even going back to her college days. Matt had been, over the years, buying samples of her fabric because he was proud of her and proud of the artist she'd become, even when they were in their fights. He sourced some from online, he got some from Kate's dad and Laura, and he had them all sewn together into a beautiful quilt that represented his love for her, his pride in her talent, how much he believes in her. It's very sweet to me. And then the two of them go down to the cafe and they make non-alcoholic and alcoholic mulled wine for everybody after the event, and they prep a bunch of baked goods, and then they go on the big caroling walk, and everyone sees the beautifully decorated copse of trees just festooned with Christmas decorations, and everybody's eating a bunch of pastries and singing songs together, and they sing the 12 Days of Christmas, and then Kate and Matt kiss in front of the entire town so that no one can doubt that they are in love and they are together, and it's good and it's sweet. Merry Christmas and a partridge in a pear tree. And that's the book, which I love. And it's sweet and nice and good. And I am, of course, truncating some stuff. There's just so many good little details. It's such a well-built, well-rounded story. I just really like it. And I'm usually somebody who reads I'm reading Jane Austen and Nancy Drew and Gothic novels. I'm not one who often gravitates towards rom-coms. I feel like for me, I tend to like my rom-coms on screen and my books a little more mysterious. But I love this book. It's so nice and fun and good, and it's great. It's a great Christmas read. But that brings us to date 12 in the show. And date 12 in the show is a Christmas ball. I don't know how I didn't realize it was always going to end in a Christmas ball. One, I'm the very beginning of episode 1, we see her leave in a beautiful dress. I should have known we were gearing up for a Christmas ball the entire time. At this point, this is my 3rd year analyzing Hallmark Christmas movies. I have, to date, academically studied 24 Hallmark films, not to mention all the other Hallmark movies I've watched recreationally over the years, and somehow I forgot that it always ends in a Christmas ball. Even an adaptation where the final date was a movie screening. Oh, of course it was going to end as a Christmas ball. Of course it would be. There was no way we were getting out of this Hallmark-created TV show without a magnificent gown and drama on the dance floor. And that's what we get. I'm not really mad at it. I love a Christmas ball, but I love a Christmas ball when it's a Hallmark original. Because Hallmark originals always make the Christmas ball part of it. It's the thing that everybody's decorating for, and they're all going to, it's like the town Christmas dance, and it's nice and it's fun and it's good. Silly me, was oh, we're adapting something that doesn't have a Christmas ball. And they already managed to fit a different Christmas ball in. Remember the Victorian Christmas ball that I thought they were doing in place of the salsa date, but then they kept the salsa date anyway? Yeah, no, now we're having a second Christmas ball just sprung upon us. Anyway, Kate's looking fantastic. Best we've seen her this whole series, of course, because she's gussied up for the Christmas ball in a lovely dress. She sees all the familiar faces of her previous dates, happily coupled off with the people they met. We see Oliver and Sarah together. And she strides towards Richard, the man she's chosen. Drew watches from the background and observes that Kate still hasn't had her moment. It's the moment Drew talked about in episode 1, where Kate needed to realize why she was doing the 12 dates in the first place. Kate and Richard dance, they laugh, they're in love, or as close to in love as you can be after 3 dates with someone, but they part briefly so Kate can go get a drink or something, and on her way to go get a drink or something, she runs into a weeping Marjorie. That's right, remember Marjorie, the friend who I forgot to mention until just now, and then she was with Richard on the Christmas market date? That Marjorie.
Date after date after date, and I really thought I'd find someone.
And what's Marjorie's deal? Why is she weeping? Oh, after 12 dates, she really only liked one guy, and he seemed like such a good fit. He was funny and charming and sweet. He got her flowers and a bracelet, but he went to the ball with someone else. Kate is realizing that this sounds pretty familiar. The humor and the charm and the sweetness and the flowers and the bracelet. I think I forgot to tell you, he bought her a bracelet that has mistletoe on it and like called her and was like, "Did you get my bracelet with the mistletoe?" And her mom was like, had opened the package and was like, "Look at this bracelet." And she was like, "Mom, get out of here." But yes, so Richard bought her a mistletoe bracelet. Marjorie holds up her wrist. She's wearing the exact same mistletoe bracelet because the man that Marjorie liked so much was Richard. Oh, the betrayal. Oh, the agony. See, they didn't even have the decency to make Richard a no-good, dirty, cheating, lying, dirty dog with a cabbage heart, with a rotten cabbage where his heart. So as we can see, they chose to give Richard the essence of a dirty, lying, no-good, low-down, cabbage-hearted cheater, but not commit to him being any of those things. Because when Kate confronts Richard, he's like, "Hey, I was just trying to lean into the romance of the 12 dates for my article. I've been telling you this whole time I'm writing this article, and I only got Marjorie the exact same bracelet I got you because she and I were on the gift-giving date and I couldn't think of anything else. I'm here with you, right? Like I'm here with you, Kate. I chose you."
I'm sure there's some poor chap out there right now who's heartbroken that you didn't choose him.
And that works for Kate. For a little bit, for like 5 minutes. But then Richard is like, "What a wonderful ending to my article. Like I actually found love, not what I was intending to do. And now we can actually take the time to get to know each other. Really lean into this and see where this thing goes." And Kate's like,
Sorry, isn't that what we've been doing?
but that's not what it was for Richard. He likes Kate well enough, and it's a great ending for his article, but he was just leaning into the fantasy of the 12 dates for his readers. Now he's ready to see if they actually work in any real-world scenario. And it's here, in the wake of this confession from Richard, that Kate has her moment, where she realizes she doesn't just want to live her life in the small, frightened way she has been living it. She wants to be herself, be bold, and pursue something real with someone who will look at all the parts of her, the sharp edges and the sarcasm, and love her because of it. And of course, at this point, we would think she'd run straight to Callum, but she does not run straight to Callum, which I actually do appreciate, because Kate's never really, over the course of this, Kate hasn't quite realized that she's in love with Callum yet. Like, in the book, it was a clear revelation to Kate that she was in love with Matt before Matt seemed to slip out of her reach entirely. He was already out of her reach because she thought he was dating someone else, but it was only when he got mad at her that she thought it was really all lost. So in this, Kate has kissed Matt, but that was sort of the awakening of the possibility, but she never even really was like, "But I do love Matt. Like, that is something I'd want." She's just been waffling this whole time. So I think it's good that, like, the reveal of Richard's true intention isn't what sent her straight into Callum's arms. I'm glad that there is a beat or two between so that she could have her moment where she realizes Callum is who she loves and then go to him. So she does not run straight to Callum, which I appreciate, but instead she talks to Laura, and Laura ends up giving her a gift from Callum. Now, this was a gift that Callum had hidden in a drawer and that he was not intending to give Kate at this time because they were fighting, but Laura was meddling, and she does intend this as her last act of meddling, but she found the gift and she's giving it to Kate, so, let the pieces fall where they may. So the gift is a framed napkin with Kate's designs doodled all over it, and it was a napkin that Callum had saved for years. This touches her very deeply, so she goes and she realizes that the person who has seen her all her life, her sharp edges, her sarcasm, and has loved her through it, has been Callum, her best friend Callum. So she finds him at the pear tree. The two of them confess their love. They Christmas kiss. And then we get a sweet little epilogue set a year in the future with everyone happy. Mac and Evelyn still together, Callum and Kate, Kate's mom and her handsome boy toy of the week. Oh, at some point she apologized to her mom, like they worked stuff out. Laura's happy with her new firm. Everybody's happy. It's all good. Mac and Evelyn go to leave on Mac's motorcycle, and Kate's like, they won't get far.
It took all the gas out of the tank. They're not going anywhere.
Oh, Kate. Ah, the end. Okay. Oh, boy. So that was a lot. It was a lot. It was fun. I had fun. I love watching and comparing and talking about what I've watched and compared. But it is New Year's Eve, basically. It is 11:33 a.m. on Tuesday, December 30th. It's the 7th. And I have got to put this Christmas train back in its station. So here's what I'll say. The show has a depth and variety of characters that we don't often see in Hallmark movies due to its nature as an adaptation. Now, this is nothing against Hallmark movies. I love them. They are funny and cheesy and silly, and that's all we want them to be. They're good for what they are. It has the bones of a well-built world at its core, even if it did decide to dress those bones up in an entirely different Christmas outfit. The story the show told, the story of a bitter, closed-off woman learning to love herself and be open to love, was well done, and the ending of Callum and Kate's Happily Ever After felt rewarding and earned for the story the show was telling. But the story the show was telling was not Jenny Bayliss's The 12 Dates of Christmas. Like, broad strokes, sure. You had a woman named Kate sign up for a dating service where she would go on 12 Christmas-themed dates, and that woman had a best friend named Laura, and she also had a guy best friend she fell in love with. So in the overarching grand scheme of everything that's ever happened in the entire world, sure, the show was telling the same story as Jenny Bayliss's The 12 Dates of Christmas. But in the essence of the story, in the details, in the actual unfolding of the plot, it was not telling Jenny Bayliss's story, because Jenny Bayliss's novel was the story of a happy, content woman who was willing to shake up her life for a chance at love, only to find that love was right in front of her the entire time. What happened there was that my camera on my computer paused. And usually when my camera on my computer pauses, I say, oh no, I have to stop this clip and start a new one. But right as I was reaching to stop this clip and start a new one, it picked back up and it started recording again. But what I didn't realize is that it glitched really bad, and now all of my audio for the rest of the clip is super off, so I'm gonna see if I can sync that audio back up, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this strong, but if not, we're finishing it either way. There are obviously similarities between the two, but it's the differences that broke this adaptation, because the changes seem to have been made to force Jenny Bayliss's novel to fit into the Hallmark Christmas movie box. And that's a shame, because the novel as is extremely well suited to Hallmark. I don't think there is another TV platform that would have been a better fit for it, because where else but a Hallmark movie are you allowed to see people happy and content and just having a nice time the whole movie? Like, obviously there's drama in Hallmark movies, but the stakes are never that high. The stakes are always like, we have to get ready for the Christmas ball. So this would have been the perfect platform to be like, hey, here's a happily single woman looking to see what she might find. It's a good Christmas. It's known for its Christmas movies, and this is a Christmas story, and it's charming and it's sweet, and it would have been good. Now, of course, a few necessary changes would be needed to get it down to a Hallmark TV PG, toning down some of the language in the book, Laura's coarse joking, the drinking, all, etc. But what could have been delivered was a really strong story that fits the Hallmark charm and brand, but been its own unique thing. The optimism of the Hallmark Christmas movie magic could have highlighted the inherent charm of the book to great effect, but instead they took this already charming, well plotted out, well-built world and bent it into the shape of the Hallmark movie mold. But overall, love the book. the series was fun. I liked the show. The show was fun. It's got a good budget. It's well acted. It's well filmed. It's really cool that it's an actual like 6-episode series. So that's something new and exciting from Hallmark. And I'm sure that if I were to circle back next Christmas and rewatch this series, I would like it way more than I did this first time around, simply because I know now that it's not a super accurate adaptation, and that would give me the freedom to watch it for its own merits and see how it stands as its own story. And I do think as its own story, it's got good legs to stand on. So I do recommend watching the show, but I really recommend reading Jenny Bayliss's The 12 Dates of Christmas, especially if you want to listen to the audiobook. It's such like I've said this a million times, a fun, charming read, and it's a perfect thing to listen to at Christmas while you're like driving back and forth. I love it. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you to all my subscribers for making this a really great year YouTube-wise. I've had this channel since I was 16 years old, but I've only been really posting regularly for the past few years. And this year, I finally made it into the YouTube Partner Program. I almost doubled the amount of subscribers I had during this time last year, and I feel like I really started making the kind of content I've been wanting to make. Really long analyses of Hallmark movies and Phantom of the Opera adaptations, basically. And so I've been having a fantastic time. Not to mention, I'm ending my year on a real high note personally, so... Anyway, thank you all so much again for a great year. Please like and subscribe for more like this. Comment your New Year's resolutions below. Happy New Year. Jesus loves you. Okay, thanks. Bye!